going on, Jerome's? Happy Saturday morning and happy Vikings maybe getting themselves a new quarterback offseason. We'll see what happens with Kirk, but the Vikings either way could or should be in the market for drafting the quarterback of the future, and a name that's been bandied about quite a bit is Michigan's JJ McCarthy. All he does is win no matter what. Yes, stats are depressed because he was in a run-first offense and also only played in 7 fourth quarters for Michigan this year, but the traits are there. He's a high football IQ kid, drops an accurate football, has good arm talent, has mobility, has youth on his side, has all of those things. Plus, I feel like, so back in the day, when Kevin O'Connell came out of San Diego State, he was a tall, lean, strong-armed, mobile quarterback. Do you think he sees a little something JJ McCarthy? Who knows, man? So JJ certainly could be dynamite as a quarterback of the future, and also JJ to JJ, which he's talked about. So at the combine, CBS Sports sitting down with our guy Ryan Wilson and Rick Spielman, JJ McCarthy was like, he was asked point blank, who are your top 3 receivers? And he said number 1, Justin Jefferson. And then in probably one of the more wholesome moments of the weekend, looks at Spielman and is like, great pick. It's so funny, man. I love it. But yes, I do think that JJ McCarthy, even though his college stats aren't what you would ideally like passing volume wise, the kid can win. That's all that he cares about, and I think that his traits are certainly scalable to the next level. Daniel Jeremiah, NFL Network, also agrees. So Andrew Kramer over at the Strip put together a great piece talking about McCarthy and Penix, and he talked at length with Daniel Jeremiah. And on the Vikings potentially trading up, getting into the stratosphere for Williams, not Williams. Williams is going 1, but May or Daniels is from the Strip. If the Vikings want May or Daniels, they will likely have to trade up from pick number 11. Williams, May, and Daniels are frequently projected as the first 3 picks. I think they go win, play, show. 1, 2, 3. What would it take for the Vikings to get into that range? Talking to Daniel Jeremiah now. You're talking about the 11th pick, the first-round pick in 2025, and the first-round pick in 2026. Blah, 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 DJ said. That would be the cost for them to get up to pick number 3. And, yeah, that's exactly what we've talked about, where the Vikings getting up into that stratosphere, if Washington or if New England wants to move, not necessarily saying that they will, it will probably cost 3 first-round picks. So if you're all in and sold on Daniels, if you're all in and sold on May, that's going to be the cost of doing business. But if you're in the McCarthy business, you could potentially stick and pick at 11, but I think that you may have to maneuver mainly just to box out some other teams. So looking at the draft order, I know. So in our mock draft the other day, we traded up to 8 to get JJ McCarthy, and in our simulation, Kirk Cousins had signed in for agency with the Falcons. But people were like, well, why are you trading up to 8? I can draft him at 42, bro. It's not going to happen. I think J.J. McCarthy is going to be a top end of the first-round pick, probably top 10. And the reason we did it and gave up some draft capital to move from 11 to 8 is to block out other teams from potentially leapfrogging the Vikings, whether it be the Broncos at 12, the Raiders at 13, other team TBD who could be in the quarterback market, because for a fact that, hey, the Bears take Williams at 1. Maybe they'll be in the wide receiver market at 9, or maybe Rome Odunze is there. Or they could trade with the Broncos at 12 or the Raiders at 13 and stick it to the Vikings, who could be waiting to stick and pick and take their quarterback, and allow another team to steal a quarterback from underneath their division rival, which then at 12, maybe they'll still get Rome Odunze, or maybe they'll go with Franklin or BTJ or whoever. All right, so, yeah, I think that the Vikings, if they want McCarthy, may have to maneuver a bit. But Daniel Jeremiah loves the fit with McCarthy and the Vikings. This is what he said, quote, I would probably lean towards McCarthy, Jeremiah said. Everything he does in terms of accuracy, delivering the football, his ability to move around a little bit, the way he sees everything and kind of plays under control, I think Kevin O'Connell would like him. A really, really quick mind. Jeremiah added quick release, just everything he does is real smooth. And I think that this is exactly what Kevin O'Connell, as well as new quarterbacks coach Josh McCown, would look for. And something that Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell have been looking for the last couple of years, where, hey, you have this guy, young kid, just turned 21, has all the traits that you want to run your offense, and has also something that's sort of overlooked. Like McCarthy played under center a lot. Some of these other quarterbacks almost exclusively in shotgun. And Kevin O'Connell loves the under center, loves play action, and that's a hallmark of his offense. And McCarthy is already well versed in that, so you don't have that learning curve there. And you look at the quarterback rankings, like, I mean, the quarterbacks are throwing today. I mean, I think McCarthy and Penix may put on a little bit of a show because May Williams Daniels aren't throwing today. But I think that some guys may make themselves some dough because it's always about what have you done for me lately, and especially with Penix because we beat this to death. Penix was lights out dynamite in the semifinals against Texas, which was a pretty damn good defense. But everyone remembers his game against Michigan where his Penix's entire team didn't show up. But I think Penix has a chance to drop bombs at the combine and look really good. Same thing with McCarthy. I think both of them have a chance to make a lot of hay today. And with McCarthy, yeah, I mean, big time arm, big time accuracy, all of that stuff. And I think that he is an untapped resource, and I think a lot of decision makers around the league agree. I think that they see that, and I think they also look at quarterbacks like Penix, who's a little bit older, has medical histories as well. Plus, some teams will hold it against him that he's left-handed because of the infrastructure of the team. Like if you're paying premium dollars to a left tackle, and all of a sudden you bring in a left-handed quarterback, and left tackle's no longer the blind side, I mean, I'm not saying that you would take Penix off your board, but if it's close, you may go in a different direction. Bo Nix, everyone talks about the major numbers, but Bo Nix said himself, he was asked what his biggest weakness is, and he says downfield arm strength. That's what it is, man. I think Rattler's a bit of a wild card. Pratt's interesting because I think Pratt is like a heavier, a little bit older diet version of JJ McCarthy in terms of arm mobility, but who knows, man? Who knows? But what's interesting is that there's already been talk that the league likes JJ McCarthy a lot more than the draft community because starting off draft season, McCarthy was like, oh, he'll be a nice second or third round pick, and there we go. But now, I mean, there's talk about him being a first round pick, absolutely, being a top 10 pick, probably, and then Louis Riddick of ESPN, our guy Thor Nystrom pointed this out, but Louis Riddick of ESPN, who is not prone to hyperbole. I mean, Louis Riddick, former personnel executive with the Eagles, back in the day, like he's not a guy who just throws out hot takes to have hot takes. Like he's not a media person who's built like that. But he's talking to personnel people, of course, they're all over the place at the combine, that they think that JJ McCarthy could go top 5, which would be certainly interesting, and it would be a spot where maybe a team trades up with the Chargers at 5 and goes up and gets him, or does a team? Well, I think Williams still goes 1 to Chicago, but does a team like Washington or New England or a team that trades up to 2 or 3, do they see McCarthy as a better long-term quarterback over a Drake May or over a Jaden Daniels? I think it would be an upset right now, but never say never. Never say never, because again, all it takes is one team to see things a little bit differently than the consensus. That's why the draft is so fun. But we'll see, man. But either way, I think JJ McCarthy would be a very good fit with the Vikings, and I think the Vikings could maneuver and still go get him no matter what. I think they'll have to move up a little bit to go get him. I don't think that they'll be able to stick and pick at 11, especially with the Broncos and the Raiders right behind them breathing down their neck. And even if Kirk Cousins is back for a year, maybe 2, I think McCarthy would be perfect for Kevin O'Connell, and I think that he would be a guy long-term that you can really build this team around. But your thoughts are thoughts. Daniel Jeremiah, NFL Network, leans JJ McCarthy in terms of second-wave quarterbacks for the Vikes. Let us know your thoughts and our thoughts in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support the work, put a little something in the Venmo. But to next time, Skull Production Value.